Hello everyone, welcome to a War Thunder air realistic battle. Today, I'm flying the Dassault Mystere IIC, or, as I shall be referring to it from now on, the Mystere IIC, since my French accent is passable at best. When I fly mid-tier jets, I don't see this plane too often, and I think I get why. The Mystère is an odd little machine. Just looking at it from the outside, this thing looks like the bastard child of an American Sabre and a Soviet MiG-15. In my experience flying this plane, it's sort of got the worst of both worlds. It doesn't have the Sabre's speed or the MiG's power. With that description, you might think that with a battle rating of 8.3, this puts the Mystère at a severe disadvantage. And you'd be right, except for two little things. The Mystère is armed with twin 30mm DEFA cannons. These fire the same 30mm NATO ammunition as the Aiden cannons on British Hunters, and if you've flown those before, you know how deadly they are. Anything gets between your crosshairs? Gone. The Mystère is the successor of the M.D.452 and Furball fighters that you see earlier in the French tech tree. With its swept-wing design and improved engine, it trades a bit of the maneuverability of its predecessor with improved energy retention and high-speed performance. A big part of what makes the Mystère seem mediocre is that it sees quite a lot of uptiers. At 8.3, it's actually got very competitive performance, but once it gets kicked up to 8.7 and above, the stuff it faces can easily exploit its weaknesses, especially its subpar engine. The MiG-17 in particular flies circles around this thing and can be very frustrating to fight if the enemy pilot knows what they're doing. Even the Seahawk can catch up to the Mystère if you're not near top speed. Nonetheless, the Mystère is a devil in one particular scenario. Close quarters knife fights. One thing that surprised me about the Mystère is its ability to take a hit. Damage like this would totally cripple a MiG-15, but the Mystère barely seems to feel it, and I can hold my own for the whole game just fine. Obviously you shouldn't rely on absorbing damage in any jet, but for a plane that's often forced to be on the defensive, it's certainly a welcome trait. What the Mystère does have going for it is consistency. It's very stable at all speeds. And at high speed, it toes this sweet spot where it doesn't lock up like the MiG, but also doesn't risk tearing its own wings off if you turn too hard like the Sabre. None of its control surfaces are particularly weak, like the ailerons on a MiG-15 or the rudder on a Scimitar. That means you can kind of pull any maneuver you want, and aren't heavily limited by the characteristics of the plane. Combine that with the fact that this plane is rather rare, and you can easily find yourself in situations where the enemy plays to their own weaknesses instead of yours. That's where the DEFA cannons come in. Unlike the Oregon's 20mm sparklers or the 50 cals of the Thunderjet, the 30mm cannons on the Mystère IIC let you capitalize on tiny snapshots in a hectic dogfight. With luck on your side, if you fly this thing like a lunatic and throw yourself headfirst into the furball, you can easily pick up 2, 3, 4 kills before the enemy even realizes that you're there. To a player who loves to fly aggressively, like me, that ability to instantly turn the tide is so much more important than raw flight performance. The last thing I want to showcase about this aircraft is a very specific but important use case, and that is hunting TU-4s. The TU-4 sits at battle rating 8.0, which puts it right smack in the battle rating bracket for the Mystère. The TU-4 is unlike any other aircraft in this bracket, because it's a complete sitting duck with no chance of evading any plane that wants to chase it down. But on the other hand, its defensive armament is so powerful that anything within a 2-kilometer radius of the plane is at risk of being torn to shreds by a monsoon of 23mm bullets. There are two effective ways of taking out a TU-4, in my experience. The first is air-to-air missiles, which the Mystère unfortunately lacks. The second, though, is high burst mass cannon fire, something the Mystere IIC definitely provides.
Commencing attack!
Our base is under attack. We must repel the attackers.
The M.D.452 2C pre-production is one of the gems of the French air tree. Don't let it collect dust in your hangar. Thanks for watching.